Today's tutorial is going to be on FlashPrint. If teachers want to integrate 3D printing into their classroom, but are also on a budget, getting a FlashForge Finder is the way to go. This is the FlashForge Finder right here. With a price tag of around $300, it's one of the best and most cost-effective printers out there. If you're using a Finder, then you will also need to use the FlashPrint software, and that is what we're going to talk about today. Connecting FlashPrint to the ISTE standards, we look at Innovative Designer. Students use a variety of technologies within a design process to identify and solve problems by creating new, useful, and imaginative solutions. Students are finding solutions by creating a 3D design and using FlashPrint to print out their design. This entire process follows Bloom's taxonomy. First, the students identify the problem. Then, students sketch the solution to the problem. They break down the process of your design and finally program the Finder to create your 3D printed design. Now, let's take a look at the FlashPrint software. This is the view of FlashPrint when you first open it up. You have tools on the left. We have tools on the top, which we'll explain as we go through this video. But we first need to load a project. So we click Load. We find our STL file and hit Open. Many times when you import a project, there are errors. FlashPrint will automatically fix those by hitting Repair Model, and you're all set. Projects are often not scaled correctly when you bring them in, so we need to scale this to the correct size. So I'm going to click on my project, click on Scale, and click on Inches to Millimeters, and now our project is the correct size. Let's do View first. So we click on View. You can actually select the view you want to take a look. So if you wanted to see the top view or the bottom view, you could do that. This is a very important view because the blue represents the part of the print that's on the build plate. If you do not see blue, that means that your print is above the build plate and it will not print. We can take a look at the left, the right, the front, and the back. The other option is to hold Control, but click, and move your finger along the mouse track, the trackpad, and you can see a 3D view of your print. Next, we have Move. We click on the Move, and you can move it along every one of the axes. Make sure that you're not below the print bed. Let me show you. Now you can see our print is actually below the build plate, which could damage your printer. So make sure that you're always on platform. Now let's take a look at Rotate. So if we click on Rotate in our model, this will allow us to move our piece any way that we want. So if we click on red, now let's take a look at Rotate. If we click on Rotate and our model, you can actually turn your piece along each axis. So if we clicked on the X, that is the red axis. I can turn this around on its X axis. Or we could do Y. The Y is the green, so that will flip things around. And then the Z axis or the blue axis will rotate along the blue. You would do this if you need to fit your print another way. In some cases, you would need to kitty corner your print to make it fit. You can actually click on the colored circle itself and rotate it as much or as little as possible. The next tool is a really cool tool, and that's the cut tool. Cut allows you to trim your print or make it into multiple parts. You can cut on the X, Y, or Z axis. Let's pretend that our print was a little bit too long and it couldn't be printed. So let's go to cut, and we're going to cut along the X axis. When I do this, we want to along the Y axis. When we do this, this red circle comes up. I'll show you the view from the side. And I want to cut off this front part, so it will now fit on my print bed and print better. So I put my circle there, I hit Start Cut, and it now separates those two parts. This part, I can go and delete it, and it's no longer part of my vehicle. The next tool I want to talk about is supports. My car was not a good print for that, so I'm going to load a different one. I'm going to go load and get my tree and hit open. Repair my model. Okay, so this print right here has two areas where there needs to be supports. Under this part right here and under that part right there. The supports are when your print has nothing below it to print off. The printer prints in layers. Think of it as like a loaf of bread. If you took out a piece from the middle, it won't stay whole. It could fall over. So you always need something below it to print off of. So let's go supports and do auto supports. The green are the supports. I'll hit OK. And you can see this tree-like structure now prints under the areas that had no support. These pieces break off very easily. We next go back to our original settings, and it's going to ask us to save the file. Always save it so you have a backup. And I'm just going to save it to my desktop for now. I already have one there, so I'm going to rewrite it. Now it's time to get into the print settings. Now it's time to print. Everything that you see here are the default settings. Once you've downloaded the program, you select the printer you have. As you can see, machine type. If for any reason the machine is wrong, you can go to the print and machine type and change that printer. The standard filament type is PLA. If you need to change that, you can click on it and choose the other options. In most cases, the printer, any print material you're going to use is PLA, so you'll leave that setting as that. You can enable or disable supports, and you can enable and disable rafts. Rafts are a base that your print prints on. It's a waste of materials, and in most cases you don't need to do it, unless you are printing supports. If you have supports on your print, you need to enable the rafts. Keeping the resolution as standard is the best way to have your print for a great quality, and you don't need to worry about walls or brims. This is a setting for anybody who comes in and ready to print, quick and easy. With that, we are ready to print. So we hit OK. We give it a name. It's going to have a .gx, and I'm going to save it right to my flash drive. I hit save, and now it's ready to print. Up at the top, you can see that it's going to take about 27 minutes and take 2.34 meters worth of material. But there's even more print settings that we're going to take a look at now. We'll go to print and click on more options. Layer height is the thickness of each layer. Too thick of a layer and it will not have a smooth look and quality, and it will not come together very well. Shells are the thickness of the perimeter walls on the side and on the top and bottom. The infill is how much plastic is in the middle. It's never filled in 100%. That is a waste of material, and it brings your costs up. 15% is a perfect infill for most prints. If you need a high quality, stronger print, you would fill in 100%. This is what a 15% infill looks like. Print and travel speed are also features that I would not mess around with. If you start to change those, it could damage the print or the printer, as it may not be able to keep up with the settings that you've changed. Temperature depends on the type of material you're printing with. Most PLAs want a temperature of 220 degrees. If you were to change it to, say, the flexible filament, you can see that it raises it up to 230 degrees. Again, depending on the filament, you may need to mess around with the temperature, but standard temperature is 220 degrees. This next feature is pretty cool. This will allow you to stop the print at any point during the printing process. It's called pause at height. What you would do is click Edit, create a pause at height point, add it, and hit OK. So now what's going to happen is that the printer will print all the way up to 10 millimeters. It will then lower the build plate and pause the printing. At this point, you could change filaments to have a dual color print. Check out this small time-lapse video of the cube printing with dual colors. I hope you have found this information helpful. I hope you enjoy FlashPrint. It's a great program. You and your kids will love it. Thank you.